So Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth do not want you to know what they're doing. And that's the subject of today's video, as these are the headlines. Pentagon accused of intimidation with new restrictions for journalists. The basic gist of it is that Hegseth wants journalists to sign a loyalty pledge kind of thing. And basically, you can only put out what they want you to put out. And I'm sure you understand the inherent problems with this stuff, because what if what they put out is questionable? So for example, there was yet another U.S. strike on a boat in the Caribbean. This is the headlines. U.S. forces strike third alleged drug vessel, killing 3. Okay, it's the third time now. And it's important when you read the headlines, like alleged drug vessel, because we don't know what's on these boats. We don't know. We don't know necessarily who's on these things. Again, we don't know. And for Trump, when you hit these things, so, okay, I'll destroy all the evidence and I'll kill any witness. That's what it ends up being. We don't know what's going on here. And this is where reporting becomes important. And then Hegseth is like, well, you can't report stuff. You have to sign a pledge. Let me read the details of this and we'll get into the pledge stuff. And this also comes at a time, as you guys know, with the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation, where if Trump doesn't like a particular joke, he'll threaten the whole network to take your license, these things, and sick the FCC on you. This is what it says. It says, Trump said he ordered the attack on the boat, this is just yesterday, which was in the U.S. Southern Command's area of responsibility. After U.S. intelligence confirmed it was trafficking drugs, okay? It was the third such strike on alleged drug boats in recent weeks. But this is where, again, you'd want an independent news source to, can you confirm this kind of stuff, right? And this matters because in my point of view, it looks like Trump's conducting an illegal war. And that's regardless of what is even on these things, because did Congress approve this kind of stuff, right? No, they didn't. I'm just making it clear. Trump's statement on Truth Social, and Trump conducts his war by social media, I guess. Trump's statement on Truth Social Friday said the strike happened in international waters. The U.S. Southern Command's area of responsibility covers most of South America and the Caribbean. 2 previous strikes have killed a total of 14 people on boats allegedly from Venezuela. But again, Trump's plan here is destroy all the evidence, kill the witnesses. We really don't know what's going on. I'm telling you the truth on this stuff. And so when the reports come out that the Pentagon wants reporters to sign pledges and stuff like that, and they can only report on approved stuff, then you start to really question it even more. This is what the New York Times says. They say, asking independent journalists to submit to these kind of restrictions is a stark odds with the constitutional protections of a free press in a democracy, and a continued attempt to throttle the public's right to understand what their government is doing. Especially with these kind of things, you're using taxpayer dollars, using military forces, you're putting young men and women who are in the Caribbean at risk, and we have no idea what's going on. We just know that they reported as a third boat that was destroyed. Again, no evidence, no witnesses. That's how I'm seeing it when they say that it's like, hey, here's the footage, and then Trump says, like, I ordered these things. We also have this, National Press Club said in a statement that independent reporting on the military was, quote, essential to democracy. I agree. It is what allows citizens to hold leaders accountable and ensures that decisions of war and peace are made in the light of day. This pledge undermines the principle, and the National Press Club calls on the Pentagon to rescind it immediately. Right? So that's what everyone's, this is just coming out a few hours ago, where Hegseth is like, yeah, guys, you got to, kiss the ring, basically. Now, Kimmel is being asked to kiss the ring at the moment. He's in I guess, negotiations with Disney to come back on the air. This is the reports where it was involved. He's got to make some sort of apology and then make a donation to Charlie Kirk's organization. That is seriously what they've been talking about. If you're curious what these pledges are, it's all here. I mean, you can read through the whole thing. This is the Assistant to the Secretary of War, dated September 18, 2025. You got to sign off. You agree with all of this stuff. Basically, don't report something unless they approve it. And this goes for even stuff that's unclassified. I guess they don't want you to put out there even, again, unclassified stuff. So, I mean, classified, I completely understand, right? But even in that regard, Trump can just decide, well, everything's classified. You can't report anything. So, there's all sorts of things that are trying to put in place. And oftentimes, say, the military or anything in government, there will be whistleblowers, because people come out and say, you know what, this isn't right? Whatever Trump's up to, or Hegseth, there'll be people who will come and they'll report to the press, because that's the way that you can bring these things to light. And I think what they're trying to do, in my opinion, the Pentagon, Hegseth, Trump, these people are trying to create a system to where, again, they control the flow of information and they can just do whatever they want. So I really don't know what's going on in the Caribbean other than there's 3 boats that were struck. And it's not just the military stuff. It's whatever they're doing with ICE. It's what they're doing with their sovereign wealth fund. It's like, where's the tariff money going? There's any number of things, of reasons why you want a press that can report, what's happening. This is more. It says the U.S. military has issued new media restrictions demanding that journalists pledge not to gather any information, including unclassified documents. So I guess that might mean, you can't ask questions at all, supposedly. And they've been doing this a lot before, where they limit access to the White House, the press room, etc. And they said, can't do things that have not been authorized for release, or else a revocation of their press pass. So if you don't follow the rules, according to Hegseth, you're out. This is what Hegseth says. I want to show you his social media page. Hegseth says the, quote, press, and in quotes, that's what he puts, does not run the Pentagon, and the people do, okay? The press is no longer allowed to roam the halls of a security facility, wear a badge and follow the rules, or go home. Wear a badge, follow the rules, or go home. That's what he's saying. My opinion, when he says stuff like, the press doesn't run the Pentagon, the people do, but like, the press informs the people so that the people can understand what's going on. And not only that, I mean, just, it doesn't pass the smell test, right? Suddenly now we're destroying 3 ships. And again, I told you guys, standard operating procedures is, if there's some sort of small boat coming, you turn on the intercom. If that doesn't work, you shoot the engines out, right? And then you board the thing, rest them, etc. I mean, Trump's point of view is this: let's just blow these things up and create some sort of distraction. I really don't know. That's why I'm saying this is why press becomes important. And I'm hoping people from inside the Pentagon let us know what is happening there. On top of that, you also have Republicans starting to call out Trump's actions against the media. This is actually Ted Cruz, which is kind of interesting. So that's the Republican senator from Texas. Ted Cruz says he rips FCC chair's Jimmy Kimmel threat as, quote, unbelievably dangerous. Okay, so what does Ted Cruz have to say? Ted Cruz says, I like Brendan Carr. So that's the head of the FCC right now. So I think that's like the Federal Communications Commission, something like that. He's a good guy. He's the chairman of the FCC. I work closely with him, but what he said there is dangerous as hell. And basically, Brendan Carr's been like, you can do this the easy way, the hard way, and I'm going to come and try to punish you, whatever, if you say things we don't like. That's what it boils down to. Cruz then also says here, it might feel good right now to threaten Jimmy Kimmel, and that's the talk show host. Yeah, but when it is used to silence every conservative America, we will regret it. So I don't often agree with Ted Cruz that much. I just frankly don't like the guy. Ted Cruz is not stupid, though. He's just unethical and immoral, but he's not stupid. And at least in this part, he's on the right side of the fence because, well, maybe when you're in power, it's great to have the government silence your critics in the media, but, things change. And what happens if the shoe is on the other foot? And so this is not the environment that we want to be in. And especially for any one of these things, if you want to talk about U.S. history, you can talk about, say, the Gulf of Tonkin during the Vietnam War, or you can talk about, say, the WMD thing during Iraq, or even right now with the whole ICE stuff, these mass people running around. I don't even know who these people are, right? That kind of stuff. This is why you want the press to report these things. And already, though, unfortunately, it looks like Trump is intimidating other shows. So, for example, this was reported today. This is a talk show geared towards women, essentially. It's called The View. If you guys know the show, it's on ABC. So I think that would be the same network as Jimmy Kimmel. They're saying here, The View not commenting on Jimmy Kimmel proves Trump's winning his war on the press. And this particular show, The View, it's not like they don't avoid politics. So they actually still talk about it. They just don't talk about this particular issue. And this is something that we want to be an environment where you can talk about anything that you want. And that's essentially what I do in my channel. Just talk about anything I want, whenever I want, whatever I think is the most important thing. And that's why I try to present it to you. We do not want to go in an environment where, things are heavily censored and you can't talk about it. And, on top of that, like when Trump's got essentially his ICE people around with masks and he's looking to expand it into multiple offices, hire said people. And it's basically, they're just kidnapping people off the street. I'm just being frank with you guys about this stuff. It is not a good environment. And the press is really important to let people know what's going on. Because if there is no press, then all you hear is effectively, state-controlled TV media. And that's essentially kind of what the Trumpers are doing these days. I noticed that many of their cabinet people just spend all day, every day doing podcasts. That's essentially what they're doing. And then they just, put out a bunch of nonsense. And it's hard. Like if I really wanted to, I could listen to, it's like literally a lot. It's like 4 to 5 hours all day of their podcast and point out every one of their lies. But it's just such a ridiculous amount of nonsense that they do on a daily basis. So, just understand, and the best way to describe it to people is if people routinely lie every day, you just can't trust them. And the most simplest stuff to talk about is like when Trump tells you that, gas is $2 and everything is cheap. I mean, it's just a simple lie there, but he'll do it on multiple issues. And then when it comes to big issues, right, so be it starting illegal wars or kidnapping people or, literally just stealing money, it becomes a massive problem. I mean, the whole thing's a problem. It's crazy that it's gone this far, and I can't believe the stuff that I see every day. I mean, honest with you, it's so unbelievable, and we just need more people to wake up. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.